Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judgment. There's a lot of news to talk about, actually, and there is a race that is going on between Arsenal and Liverpool for Rodrygo, and also the Eze news that he prefers Arsenal. There's a video that dropped that his dream is to play for Arsenal. How good is Eze? I believe that he's as good as he gets, to be honest with you. He is actually better than a lot of midfielders in the league. He will force himself into the Arsenal team. And also there is news that actually Newcastle actually will submit a higher bid for Ekitike. Does that mean that Liverpool are finally their target man, Isak? And what does that mean for the Premier League? But we got no one better than my man here, Jamie Phillips, of course, supporting Liverpool, and Lee Judges, the celebrity here, with the grind. Of course, he has been grinding on YouTube a lot of like every day now with Dan Potts, of course, on Dan Potts' channel, or Lee Judges' channel, which is the channel is pinned in the description. They're doing great work, both of them, top guys, of course, helping the community and actually helping a lot of people in YouTube. And I appreciate them actually giving me their time, of course. So hit that like button if you guys are here. We're just starting the show, so let's get the likes up. I don't want to stop the show and tell you to hit that like button. How are you guys feeling? The smile on Lee's face. You've been angry, Broski. You've been angry lately with Dan.
I've not been out. I've been frustrated, I think is the word. You know what I mean? I have to say that, like, you know. And I still stand by it, you know, like to go a club like Arsenal to go, you know, 5.5 months without a striker, and then as we speak at this moment in time, still not got a striker in. You know, I think Arsenal fans are entitled to be a little bit frustrated by that. I do, like, you know. But listen, if the rumours are true and Gyökeres is going to sign by tomorrow, then it does look very, very different for us Arsenal fans, and it was certainly myself anyway. So
with only Gyökeres, Jamie, like with only Gyökeres, like if Liverpool are targeting Isak and Arsenal getting Gyökeres, isn't Liverpool moving away from Arsenal?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, the Liverpool were probably away from Arsenal last season. If you go and add Isak to that, and they had Gyökeres, it'd be a tight battle. But yeah, I've always got to support my team, saying they're pulling away. But it's going to be interesting next season, no doubt about it. I think the elite teams in this Premier League are moving away from everyone else now. That's what I think, anyway.
Someone actually put in my comments yesterday that why aren't Arsenal just going for Isak themselves? Because since February, the dream was to get Isak. So why, if Isak is on the market, why Arsenal don't go for Isak? Does anybody have an answer for this? Why not?
Well, one thing at the moment is that Isak's not on the market. That's a key thing at this moment in time. I know everybody's got their price, but at the end of the day, if Newcastle, what I'm led to believe, are not prepared to sell, so that's one reason. The other reason is that I think that if I've been really honest with Arsenal last season, I think that look at the striker situation. But I also think that Arsenal's squad was weak last season. So if we was to put all the money on Isak, the squad is still going to be thin and could still have faults with it. So I think that the sensible thing to do is to get somebody like Gyökeres. Ideally, you'd like to get Isak and then continue to get the squad players that we're getting. But I can't see us getting Isak, then getting Eze, then getting these all the players coming through. So I do think that where Liverpool, I think, are definitely stronger than Arsenal, is that they've got firepower and a lot more strength in depth than what Arsenal have got, and that proved last season. So I think that if Arsenal can improve that squad, I think that's one of the things. And listen, like Gyökeres is still a very, very good signing for us, because we haven't got a forward, and we haven't. Listen, we've competed in the last 2 seasons, definitely, without really that gun. And, like Liverpool would turn around and say, well, they haven't got a striker now, but they've got a gun. They've got a gun in Mo Salah, you know what I mean? Yeah, they've got, you can't argue with that. He's a gun. He scores goals. We haven't really got that. So we need to get that. And that will then push us a little bit further. The one thing that I would say that you could argue about Arsenal at the moment is that they've gone and signed Madueke. Did they really need to spend 50 million on that? They could have put that in other areas. I think that's something that you could throw at Arsenal, but I'd rather throw that at Arsenal at the end of the window, see what happens. Like, if we get Eze, I think, Gyökeres, Eze, on top of what we got up top, puts us on the same levels of Liverpool as far as depth and whatever. Now,
only Eze, so not even with Rodrygo. So you think Eze, Gyökeres will put you on the same level? I'm really intrigued about this question. You think Gyökeres and Eze will put you on the same level as Liverpool if they get like the likes of Ekitike? Because that if you don't go for Rodrygo, that there's another club that will go for Rodrygo, which is Liverpool. It is reported yesterday that they want to invest in Rodrygo. That's why they set a high price for it. Yes.
Yeah, listen, I think forget about Liverpool at the moment. Just think about it from an Arsenal point of view. If they add those two players to the squad, you know what I mean? Like Liverpool had the same sort of players the season before last, and we was like a lot further in front of them. This season, Liverpool, for whatever reason, and fantastic to them, the manager tweaked little things, gone in front of us. I would say that's great business for us. Then you've got to look at it, right, well, okay, if Liverpool go and do something different, well, that's up to Liverpool, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really, worry about other teams to a certain degree. You've got to get your own house in order first. And then what you got to do, as far as I'm concerned, is go, right, we've got these players, and we've got to up our levels all around the squad, all around the team, and hopefully that will happen. If Gyökeres comes in, that may make Saka better. It may make Odegaard look better. Don't forget, there was a lot of players last season at Arsenal underperformed. So they've got to perform again. And, if Liverpool go out and spend big, then you have to say, okay, fair enough. But did Liverpool go out and spend big last summer? I don't think they did. And they still managed to win. So it's not always about what happens in the summer in the transfer window. You've got to get it right on the pitch as well. So Liverpool ended that myth last season with two things as far as I'm concerned. And that should encourage every club. One, you don't have to spend big to win it. You've got to have good players in there. And secondly, your manager is a big thing, you know what I mean? Like, who would have thought that this manager would have come in and done what he'd done? Now you telling me that Jurgen Klopp's a bad manager? Hell no. He's gone there and, I think that the biggest thing that I can give him as a manager is he's not come in there with an ego and said, I need to change this. Oh, this is Klopp's team or whatever. He's gone, no, I just need to tinker with something there and do something there. So I think that there's always room to improve. and it's not necessarily on the signings. But listen, Liverpool have not spent that much money over the last couple of seasons, so you have to say fair play.
But they have a player, Lee, that is okay. So basically, that doesn't have. And I said this to Jamie before. There is no player in the history of a 38 Premier League game that actually done what Salah does. Like, nobody has ever done this. Even Thierry Henry didn't do these numbers. So to have a player like this, it's what I mean is like it's one time. You cannot rely on Mohamed Salah doing that every season. That doesn't happen often.
No, and also, like, you know, there's going to be a time when he ain't going to be able to do it because he's getting to a certain age now. And Liverpool will have to, maybe they're looking, bringing in Isak maybe this season or next season with that fault in mind, because he cannot continue to do what he's doing. But what he has done, listen, I don't think that Salah is as good as what he was a couple of seasons ago as far as a player, but his stats and everything going. And to be fair to Liverpool, they've not overworked him so that he can continue down this route. And listen, give credit where credit's due. He's a wonderful, wonderful player. And listen, we had Thierry Henry, we've had Dennis Bergkamp. These players come along every now and then, and Liverpool are not going to be able to replace him. They've never been able to replace Steven Gerrard, but they've won things after that night, you know. So that's what you have to do. You have to invent other players and whatever. And I think that, you know, once Mo Salah goes, Liverpool will have to find, and they will, because that's what good clubs do, find another way to get in through it. And maybe Isak is the one that will finally replace him. The other thing is you have to look at, and you know, I don't know if
there is a little bit of an audio issue in the background from someone. Is it a fan?
I've not got one on.
I've got one on.
I can't hear anything.
I can hear a lot of beeping saying or saying.
Yes, beeping in the background. Somebody. Okay, let me just try. It's not Lee. It's Jamie.
I felt nothing in the background.
Is it lower your mic volume a little bit?
All right.
Just a little bit.
The sound just started happening.
Now it's perfect. No, he's muted. Yeah. Yeah, it's from Jamie somehow.
Still there?
Yeah,
because I can't hear anything.
There is a little bit of a background noise coming from Jamie. A little bit of background. But anyway, we can continue. It's slower now. It's much better now. Guys, thank you, Luke, for the super chat. Guys, hit that like button. Let's get the likes up to 300. Hit that like button.
The one thing I was going to make, Mo, real important point is if they do bring in, like everybody's going, oh, look, this is it. Like, you know, they bring in Isak, he's going to be that's going to be it. Like, there may be a like, because of the way they play most of that, that may not work. The dynamics might change a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? It might not get as much input out of.
But I can do the same for you, Lee. If you get Gyökeres and Eze, it might not work as well. That happens.
Well,
you gotta do the best you can. You gotta do the best you can.
We haven't got a striker, Mo.
And you haven't got a striker as well.
At the end of the day, listen. We played a midfielder in a makeshift midfielder in a front row. He scored some goals for us, to be fair. But at the end of the day, he's not a striker, Mo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, Christ, Arsenal will improve. And if they don't, then you're going to have to look at the manager and certain other things. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you know about football. If you've got a top gun, a top striker, you're going to be better. And I don't care what anybody says. Arsenal will be better.
No one is saying otherwise. No one. I'm not saying. I think Arsenal is going to improve massively. And I'm also putting in people's mind, which is a lot of banter that is happening between clubs, is that we forgot that Arsenal, even without a proper number 9, finished ahead of Liverpool in back-to-back seasons. But people tend to forget this and also remember last season. But I believe if Liverpool get Isak, I believe they are heavily favorites for the league. What can Arsenal do to offset that is to get the likes of Eze, Rodrygo, Gyökeres, which basically means the Arsenal team have no holes. If Odegaard doesn't perform, Eze plays there. If Rodrygo doesn't perform, you play Eze left wing. Gyökeres, You got Gyökeres, you got Jesus, you got Havertz, you got Norgard, you got Moreno, you got Rice, you got Zubamendi. There are no holes. In the back line, Mosquera, a ball-playing centre-back, which a lot of people complain about, right? You got Ben White, you got Calafiori. There are no holes in the team. If you only get Eze and your left side end up being like last season, now, well, people say, oh, but Arteta didn't get his left winger. There's going to be a little bit of excuses, you know, like that is the difference.
Oh, there's no excuses next season.
There will be excuses. I promise you, there will be excuses. If he doesn't get Rodrygo, there will be excuses.
From a certain part of the fan base who who can't, that you're not allowed to criticise Arteta and whatever. I get that, but at the end of the day, no, there is going to be, you can't listen. They might go and get Rodrygo. At the end of the day, if Arsenal come into it and say, look, we can't afford Rodrygo, I think that straight away you look at it and go, hold on a minute, you just spent 50 million on Madueke. Why have you not done that? You know what I mean? So yeah. I think that there will be fallout from that. Yes, we've got to build the squad. That's something that we got to do, Mo. But at the end of it, I'm sorry. I'm not. There will be no excuses. Listen, every club gets injuries. Arsenal had injuries last season. Not saying that they didn't, but what we was filling our team with was young kids that never were going to play for Arsenal, and now have all left. You know what I mean? Like that has got to be addressed. I look at our bench last season, and we went to the semi-finals of the Champions League, and we had nothing on the bench to change. Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can say a couple of them players were injured, like 3 or 4, but you still need 3 or 4 to come in and, off the bench. So I think that the squad, you don't win a league now, do you, with 11 players? Simple as that.
No, you don't. Can I throw a curveball at you? And also to the Liverpool fans. And also the Liverpool fans. What if Liverpool don't get Isak? Everyone is assuming. What if they get only Ekitike? Surely Arsenal should be better than them now. If they only get Ekitike, now Arsenal with Gyökeres and Eze, now they should be ahead of them. Do you agree with this?
Oh, well, no, like Liverpool still going to, whatever Liverpool do, they're going to be a fantastic football team next season. They've got, they was, whether you like it or not, Mo, they was outstanding for the majority of the season last season. The only time they really tailed off was when they'd won it. So they're going to be, whatever happens, you know what I mean? And listen, there's, Núñez, for instance, might come good. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like he's not a bad player, but he might start banging in the goals that he should have done or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think you should just say like Liverpool because they've not got this and that. Liverpool are going to be there and thereabouts. And the one thing that Liverpool have got, I think, over Arsenal at this moment in time is genuinely in a couple of areas world-class players. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that we've got class players, but I don't think that we've got that elite level yet. And that's what we need. And I think that Liverpool. I think, listen, Peter, I've really been a little bit disrespectful for Liverpool, like, you know what I mean? There wasn't no decent teams in it. It wasn't this and wasn't that, like, they was consistent all the way through. And sometimes consistency can be better than being the other side of it. And I think that consistency should be given a lot of credit for. And Liverpool had that last season. And I still think that at this moment in time, as it stands, Arsenal are third. If Arsenal bring in Gyökeres and they bring in Eze,
they're behind City.
I think City, what they've recruited, I think that. But if Arsenal bring in what they're saying they're going to do, then I think that Arsenal are in the hunt. And I'm going to say this now. I don't know if you agree. I think Chelsea will be in the hunt as well. Like
I actually have this in the title that Chelsea are underrated.
Yeah, I think the 4 teams will be there. You know what I mean? Liverpool would look at it as well and say that, Chelsea have gone to this tournament. I'm going to be really honest. I never watched none of it. But at the end of the day, credit where it's credit's due. They've gone and won that. So, and there's some decent teams in there, I can tell you, so they've gone, they've done well. So I don't think you should write off with them. But at this moment in time, Liverpool are champions. And I always say, if you're the champions, there's no other sport, is there? Like, I don't know if this is true, like, but if you've won it, you should be favourites straight away for the next season. Like, you know, so I don't understand it. All of a sudden, people are saying Man City are favourites. Well, why? Because Liverpool they're the team is in possession, like, you know, and I still think, you know, they should be favourites at this moment in time. And let's put a bit of pressure on them as well.
So if you say that, I'm going to bring Jimmy. If you say they are favourites, surely now that is an excuse, not from you. If there is a number, if you're playing the number one in Wimbledon every year, right, and you lose, that's not your fault, and he is just better than you. What can you do? If Andy Murray reaches the final of Wimbledon every year and he played Federer, and Federer keep winning and winning and winning, surely we cannot just turn to Andy Murray and say, well, you are a failure because you're losing to Federer.
It's not much you can do about it, though, is there? Yeah.
There's not much you can do. But that is the argument. Arsenal fans, and I'm saying, everyone, not like Dan, Lee, everyone, they keep saying that Arsenal must win. Yes, in the sport, you must win. But at the same time, you cannot sit here and in one moment you say, well, even if we bring the guys that we bring, we're still second favourite. And then the favourites win it. Surely you just done your job.
Where were Liverpool last season in the betting? Where were they in the betting? I'll tell you where they were. Third favourites. So that doesn't mean to say your favourites, you're going to win it.
100%. But they want to take against the odds. They want to take against the odds.
Yeah, I think what it is with Arsenal is that they've been building for a few years now, and it looks like when you talk to some Arsenal fans, it's like they're still building. You know, it's like their house is never complete, if that makes sense. Like they're still like they need to build a loft and then need to build an extension, and because someone next door has got a bigger castle now, so they got to keep building and building and building. It looks like Arsenal never, you know, finish building what they want, and then you got teams like Chelsea and all that are doing things, and then they're sneaking up, and then they could catch Arsenal, and then, you know, then Liverpool. Yeah, last season we didn't buy anyone apart from Chiesa, but what Liverpool did have is 3 world-class players in Virgil, Salah and Alisson Becker that not a lot of other teams have got in Europe. Then we built our midfield was a year in as well from the year before, so they bedded in a little bit better. You know, Arne Slot came in with a different way of, you know, a calmer approach to things than Jurgen Klopp, and just carried on sort of like the same sort of thing. Because everyone forgets the year before, in Klopp's final year, Liverpool were around the top of the league till about February time, and then
you were favourites from January. You were favourites.
The injuries, and we dropped off a little bit because of the injuries and finished third. So in the last 2 bit years, Liverpool have been up there anyway. So now Liverpool have just gone, for the first time I can remember in a long time, Liverpool won the league and gone, you know what, we want to dominate now. You know, we're going Trent's going, no worries. There's Conor Bradley, new contract, and there's Frimpong. You know, left back, Robbo's losing his legs, no worries. There's Gyökeres, arguably the best left back in the league last season. And then, you know, we need a creative player. They went, who's one of the best creative players in Europe? There you go, Florian Wirtz. You know, 100 million quid. And now they're looking for a striker because they want a proper striker. And, you know, now they're looking at Alexander Isak. I've always said it. I've said this for years. In my opinion, Liverpool should be the Real Madrid of England, being the size that Liverpool are. And Liverpool are trying, for me now, to be that and dominate and buy the right players, spend the money, you know, keep important players. You know, even if Virgil and Salah are in their mid-30s, I don't care. They're still so good at what they do. You give them the money they deserve. Do you know what I mean? And Alisson Becker, you know, he's got 2 years left in his deal. Liverpool are trying to future-proof that area. So what do? They go and buy Mamardashvili. You know, and he comes in, he's number 2. That's arguably the best goalkeeping depth in Europe. And they're just building the blocks. And then Arsenal are trying to build their blocks to catch Liverpool. But then Chelsea are there. And then Man City
got to get past them. To win, you got to go past.
Sometimes I think Arsenal don't always attack the market properly like Liverpool have done in the past as well. Like this summer, the first player for me that Arsenal should have bought this summer was just Gyökeres. Forget everyone else straight away. Just buy Gyökeres first, because once you got Gyökeres in, what it does to the fan base as well, it calms everyone down. Goes, right, You've got the player that we were begging for now for 3 years. You've gone and got him first in the market, and then you can build around it. See, I don't know why Arsenal are wasting their time with Eze. And this is not me saying Eze's not a fantastic player. Eze as a left winger is not the same footballer as he is if he's a floating number 10. Nowhere near. As a left winger, he's not in the game like he is as a number 10. That, you know, that guy he can float around, you know, link up the play, join the attack in that central area of the pitch. If you go by Eze, for me, spend that much money on him at his age, you've got to put him in to replace Martin Odegaard, because I don't see the point of buying Eze to play him left wing. Go and get yourself a proper.
But you're assuming. But Jimmy, you're assuming.
No. I spoke to Crystal Palace fans about this. They've told me.
No. You're assuming. The reports are saying, and this is where I'm going to call out some Arsenal fans. As of now, I agree with Lee. Judge it at the end of the window. As of now, reports from Ben Jacobs, David oRNSTEIN, and Fabrizio Romano is saying that the Madueke deal is separate from the attacking midfield and the left wing. The Eze deal is separate from the winger deal. That is the reports, right? Are Arsenal slow in the window? Yes, but Arsenal even haven't played a preseason game yet. And they are trying to get the money right for Viktor Gyökeres. I get Liverpool got their money right for Vert. And Arsenal are trying to do the same. And Sporting Lisbon are playing hard. I'm defending Arsenal because at the end, if in Friday Arsenal sign Gyökeres, who gives a shit if Arsenal spend 2 months negotiating? As long as their targets are still available. As long as they still go for Eze, as long as they still go for a left winger, whoever that left winger is. Maybe Rodrygo is going to say, I'm staying at Real Madrid. Maybe he's going to say that. And now people are going to say, Arsenal, why didn't you sign Rodrygo? He's staying at Real Madrid. Same for Liverpool, by the way. Liverpool going for Isak. What if Newcastle say, we're not selling Isak? Liverpool did what they can. Why did Liverpool wait that long? Because Newcastle don't want to sell. You got to be logical sometimes when you get angry or you throw a tantrum about the window and all the stuff. Because sometimes things take time. Look at how sometimes Liverpool took a long time to sign this player or that player. It took a long time. I remember Salah. Brandt. The club wanted Brandt. This wanted Salah. And at the end, Salah came. It takes time. It's not unless it's a release clause that you got to pay. Also, they haven't agreed terms yet with Eze. Eze wants to join the club, but he doesn't agree terms yet. So people have to wait for Arsenal. Same for other clubs as well. It takes time. And Arsenal are not the richest club in the world, with all due respect. They're not.
But they don't. I agree, Mo. But what you've got to have is you've got to have certain players on board first. And that's what we're saying. Like if Gyökeres is on board and he goes to that on tour, say, for instance, and Liverpool fans will say the same with whoever they got, it's fine. You know what I mean? That's fantastic. Whatever happens afterwards and all that, you know, there might be a deal that comes up late in the window and things like that, and you can react to it. Liverpool will react to it. The difference between us and Liverpool at the moment is where we're a little bit more edgy than Liverpool is because Liverpool won the title last season. So they can be a little bit more relaxed about what they do. But Arsenal and other teams have got to go, well, we've got to get something to get ourselves up there. Now, for me, if you get that striker in, and he's on the tour and all that, then great. At the end of the window, like at this moment in time, there's no information that Rodrygo, if it's him, is available. No, you know what I mean, like or whatever. It's no good waiting until the last day of the season, and then they go, "No, I'm staying here," and then you haven't got your other like ducks lined up. Arsenal have got to get that lined up, and then things will happen. I do think that they'll address that left-hand side. I don't know with who. You know what I mean? It might be somebody else comes available. I don't know. You know, I think Liverpool at this moment in time, there's, you know, I don't know if these reports are true that Diaz does want to leave. You know what I mean? Like if that does happen, I think that opens up something for Liverpool to go for Anthony Gordon. I do think that I've heard rumours about that. If maybe they can get that. If it don't, something will happen. Will open up other avenues. For me as an Arsenal fan at the moment, I'm not really worried about the left-hand side or whatever. For me, it's just get that striker in, and that improves us. Whether it's enough, that's a different argument. And then what you got to do then is if something like a Rodrygo comes available, you've got to be ready to react.
Yeah, let me do the super because I got another question that people keep asking me about it. Terry, I honestly think we get Isak and Rodrygo, and if it happens, this window is generational for us, and we go back to back and we go deep in the Champions League for sure. You gotta be favorites to win the Champions League, Terry. You're a Liverpool fan. If you get Rodrygo and Isak, you gotta be favorites to win the Champions League, my man.
That front four is nuts. Yeah.
Big up the judges, Havertz fans unite. I don't think he's a Havertz fan.
I like Kai. I think he's a decent footballer. He's not what we want in that centre forward role, but still a very, very good footballer and still will contribute next season.
Oh yeah. Don't forget as well, we're in for Gehi. It's 2-2. Big up. Yeah, Liverpool are building a freaking formidable team. Sorry, but why is Rodrygo so highly rated? Because he won the Champions League. He contributed to Real Madrid. He's very good. He's a very good player. He's better than Martinelli. He's better than Diaz. He's better than Gakpo. He's better than Trossard. He's better than a lot of wingers out there. I believe he's very good. Rice at the 8 works. He will sweep up for Gyökeres. Well, if you bring Eze will force himself into the team, my man. I'm going to ask a question. A lot of people are saying, regardless of what Arsenal do, Arteta's not going to win the title. Bro, every time I see on shows, they're like, oh, Arteta's not good enough. What's his name?
Who's not good enough?
Arteta. He's not good enough. It doesn't matter what you give him. He's not good enough to win the title. To win the title. Nobody is talking about the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. They're talking about the Premier League or the Champions League. I've got a lot of people telling me, Mo, it doesn't matter how much you prop Arsenal players, how much you say Saka's good. Arteta is not the guy. And oRNSTEIN is better than him. He came in and won the league. It doesn't matter what you give him. And I'm like, so how did he finish above Liverpool back-to-back against your club if he's not that good?
Listen, I can debate an argument about...
Here you go. Arsenal, but he won't win shit. There is a lot of people that think that.
Listen, there's a difference between winning a title and challenging for a title. Like, you know what I mean, because you challenged for a title in the last 3 years, that doesn't mean you're shit. You know what I mean? He's got us to a certain level where we are at this moment, and that, in my eyes, it doesn't mean it means he's a very, very good manager. There's a difference between if you can get yourself over the top. Now that's something he hasn't proved yet, and he's got to do that this season. And if he does, you know, then what is it then? Oh, he's got to win it next year because otherwise he's not great or whatever. Like, you know, it will never end. It will never end. At the end of the day, he has done fantastically well to get Arsenal into a position that teams mock us about, that would love to be in that position. You know what I mean? Like, but you've got to get yourself over the line, like, you know. And what bloody Liverpool done to us last season made the pressure a lot more, because at the end of the day, it was the Man City. And I don't care what anybody says, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you've been playing, as you said, Roger Federer all the time, and then bloody someone else comes along and wins. It's a little bit tougher to take. You know what I mean? Like, so at the end of it, let's judge Arteta after this season, because I do think that, you know, and quite rightly so. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, he's done a fantastic job to get Arsenal where they are. You know what I mean? But, you know, he needs to get enough.
It's not enough. The thing with Arteta, look, this is his first job, ain't it, as a manager? And he's gone straight into a massive club like Arsenal, yeah, with a lot of attention on him and a lot of eyes on him. And what he's done a good job. I'm not going to say he's been fantastic. He's done a good job, and he's obviously a good coach at what he does. Yeah, he's not like a bum, but is he that guy to take Arsenal to the next level now? You know when you get some managers that come in, are good managers, good coaches, and then get you so far, but then they just can't get you over the line, and eventually you need to get that new manager in, then can get you over the line and keep you there. I just don't know if Arteta's that yet. I mean, because it's his first job. This is still. Do you believe
he's that guy? Do you believe he's that guy?
I don't believe Arteta's that guy. No, I don't believe Arteta's that guy. From just watching, you know, Arsenal.
Why is that?
I think Arteta still gets easily rattled, very easily rattled. I think that affects his team when it happens as well. Look, I've seen him. Look. I've Arsenal won the league a couple of years ago. I think they should have. You know, I know that was a quality Man City side they were competing with, but at the end of the day, they sort of just lost it towards the last few weeks of the season, didn't they? And, you know, again, that's him getting over the line. He's got a good team now. I don't know if we can keep always blaming the players constantly, you know, even from a Liverpool point of view. There's good players there now. We're talking about, you know, Gabriel and, you know, all that at the back. Got a good goalkeeper. You got a solid midfield. You got one of the best right wingers in world football in Saka. You know, you're getting Gyökeres in. You got all these good players at Arsenal Football Club now that, you know, a lot of teams would really like in their sides. I think this year is pivotal for Arteta. Yeah. I really do. I think
same was said last year.
But I think this year, because he's got his striker now, it's not Havertz who's, you know, a Timu striker. You know, bought for a midfielder, try to play a 10, and you know what?
What if Gyökeres gets injured? Injuries happen.
Yeah, injuries happen, but he has got a squad there now. He's got Havertz who he backs.
Okay. So Havertz is the backup. That is the problem. I'm playing devil's advocate, Jamie. What if Gyökeres gets injured? Same, but bro, I can just, like, the thing about Arteta is that I like Arteta. By the way, a lot of people got rattled, including like big Arsenal YouTubers, when I said I would take Arteta Inter if Inzaghi leaves, and I still stand by it. I'll take Arteta Inter. Is better than ours.
To be fair.
What, guys?
But in the same time, if Gyökeres gets injured, okay, so he'd better have another striker then.
A good manager or a class manager and all that, like, still has to have a bit of luck.
Of course they do.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
100%.
If Liverpool lost, Liverpool have not, when they look, you know, under Klopp, who was a fantastic man, lost Van Dijk, never the same. Never the same, like, you know what I mean? Van Dijk back now, back to his best. Oh, look, Liverpool are back. You lose your best players, of course you're going to struggle and all that. Like, and at the end of the day, Arsenal had lots of injuries last season. You need a little bit of luck. And you know, when they say to me, like, a good manager is a lucky manager, sometimes that's the case as well. Like, you know,
really?
I mean?
It's not his fault.
Luck is needed in football. There's no doubt about it. What I look with Arteta, like, I've always said this. I see Arteta as a pragmatic coach, a defensive-minded manager first. I actually do believe Arteta goes into games not to lose it instead of win it. Sometimes.
That's a great point.
And I think that's what sometimes where Arsenal drop points where they shouldn't drop points, because he's a bit too overprotective at times instead of like being a bit more gung ho with the players he's got. You know, and you know he did it in his first title run season, when no one expected Arsenal to be there, and you know they were a bit more front-footed and everyone was getting goals. Then the season after that, because they didn't win the league, he pulled back from that and became a little bit more protective. And you see that, you know, you see that in his transfer windows. Look at the amount of defensive-minded players that Arteta goes in the market for before attack-minded players. You know, he inherited Martinelli, he inherited Saka. You know, he went and bought Havertz. He's living at this moment in time, he's living and dying by the sword on Havertz because he wants to make it work. He's desperate to make this Havertz situation work. Where Havertz plays next season, I don't know. Should he start games? Maybe not, because Gyökeres should be the number one striker. So I do think, you know, that's part of, you know, when you watch a Slot or a Klopp or a Pep team or a Luis Enrique team or stuff like that, the way they press from the top end. The defending is from the striker, not from the back line. You know, they press high. They put everyone up the pitch. They take a lot of risks in their play. You know, it's important to keep the ball in the midfield, because if you lose it, you lose it in transition. You know, so it's risky football, but it's what the top managers are playing, because they want to go out there and win every single game they're playing. They're not there for draws. They're there for wins. And to play like that, you have to play with risk. And I don't know if Arteta's a risky manager or a risky coach. That would be my worry.
He did it against Real Madrid, though. He did it against Real Madrid. He pressed him from minute one and he played to win the game, which is supposed to be cautious. As I say, we are judging Arteta based on last season, the season that passed. But we are forgetting that Arteta was playing the most expensive football the season before and the season before that.
Yeah.
When they scored he scored over 90 goals.
No one expected Arsenal to do anything that season. That's what I'm saying. That was the season no one expected Arsenal because they just got Champions League that season, the season before.
Everyone expected Arsenal to battle for the league that season, Jamie.
No, not
when
that.
they lost the league when Partey and Saliba got injured, the season.
No, I'm on about the first. You know that season when Odegaard got like 20 goals.
The 22-23 season.
No one expected Arsenal to challenge that year. It took everyone by surprise. Yeah,
100%.
And since that season, he's pulled back a little bit.
I disagree. He literally league goes to games.
I think last season, definitely. I don't know.
Yes, but the season before it was. You remember the 23-24 season when you were attacking every single. You were blitzing teams for the second half of the season. You won 16 out of 18 games by literally blowing team. Like he was like that Arsenal team. It was one game away from winning the title.
What I think Arsenal done. I agree. I think Arsenal last season, I don't know why Arteta done this. It may be because we didn't have the forward or whatever. Again, I'm not making the injuries an excuse. Is that we changed our game from being this exciting team that was a little bit gun-ho and you might get a 3-2 win or whatever to basically control the game from minute one. Now that meant that it's 50, 60 passes in the midfield and back four without really attacking the goal. It was like, we control the game when we've got the ball. And sometimes that wasn't the right way to go. I agree. We wasn't expansive enough last season. Maybe because he didn't have the players, but that excuse is gone now. He's got the players. And I think that I'll be very, very disappointed if they don't be a little bit more expansive going forward and all that. I do think the cautiousness last season, and listen, stats don't lie, 12 draws. That's because you're either, and you're winning those, most of that. You're not losing those games and getting last minute draws out there. You're winning those games, controlling those games, but you're not being killing them off. And I think that's correct. And I do think you have to ask yourself a little bit like, has a little bit of pressure come on Arteta and has he been able to handle it? And the fact of the matter is Arsenal haven't and I'll go back to a day when Liverpool lost to Crystal Palace at home on the 2:00 kickoff. And for the first time in that season, it was in Arsenal's hands and Arsenal's hands only to win the league. And they went to the game at home against Aston Villa and they blew. Yeah. So there are questions about if if they'd have won that game, who knows? You don't know. But what I'm saying is, if you've got, that's when the pressure, as far as I'm concerned, was on. So you're right. This is it now. You deliver because if you're 2-3 points behind, we can't do nothing about it. Man City keep winning and blah 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 blah. So when you have that, it's like a boxer or a tennis player. He's got that shot to win the tournament, or that you're serving for the tournament, whatever, you must do it. That is the one time that I question Arteta. That was the one time we had it solely in our hands. And of course, then we lose that game. We go and win our next 10 games on the spin, but it wasn't in our hands. So there's a little bit of a difference in pressure to that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, but you remember that Liverpool haven't won a title when there was pressure. In the Champions League, they played Spurs at the final. When they played them, they lost. I actually believe that Arsenal were not lucky enough to actually have a title race like this. Like when you're like, your teams are playing against you are like so bad. That didn't happen to you. Because Arsenal really got 89 points one season. The season before, Man City were amazing, to be honest. And I don't think that Arsenal will get that. I don't think that Arsenal will ever get the season where the competition is as weak as it was for Liverpool last season. It will never happen.
That's not Liverpool's fault, is it, mate? Like, listen, Liverpool went up against Manchester City. I remember was it 90-odd point? They lost one game and lost the league. You know what I mean?
97 points. Yeah.
97 points. Over this last generation, and people go, Arsenal didn't win the league over the last 2 years. We took on a team that was treble winners. Unbelievable title challenges. Liverpool done the same, by the way. Liverpool, the end of the day, they were just unreal. What's happened now is that Manchester City have dropped into normality, if you like, And at the end of it, like, you know, yeah, it was a weak league last season, but that ain't Liverpool's fault. And at the end of the day, in weak league, Arsenal still didn't win it with a weak league. Man City didn't win it with a weak league. I think it's a little bit harsh to say, like, you know what I mean? There's still some, you know, like I look at last season, if you look at it like Newcastle's still a decent team, a tough team like to go to. Aston Villa is a tough team to play against, you know what I mean? There's still like tough games in there, like, you know. Champions League, Arsenal got to the semi-final, like, you know, Tottenham won the Europa League, like there's not as many. There's no, like, I don't know if you want to say, like, you know, Man United as poor as they were, you can't say you're right and that's a definite 3 points.
I've just had some information passed from me for a very close friend that gets a lot right. And he has just told me that Liverpool are attempting to buy Isak and Ekitike this summer.
Ooh.
David oRNSTEIN has just tweeted as well that Liverpool have just made contact with Frankfurt for Hugo Ekitike.
Can I tell you something, Jim? I actually think, and people are going to get up, I actually think Newcastle played you.
I want Ekitike. I'm happy anyway, so I'm good.
Exactly. Newcastle played you. They bid for Ekitike.
And now they have a striker who don't want to be there and they haven't got a backup. So they're in trouble.
And now, like, they bid for Ekitike. They made you try to go for Isak. They told you Isak is not for sale. Liverpool said, well...
Actually, not come out yet. Fabrizio's just said that Isak... Fabrizio has said that Isak has said he would like to move to Liverpool. So
he's going to throw a tantrum and try to move to Liverpool.
The thing is, if Newcastle don't get Ekitike and Isak doesn't want to sign a new contract with Newcastle, then Newcastle are shit.
No, Isak has 3 years left at his contract, Jamie.
Yeah, but his valuation goes down every year if they don't sell him.
It doesn't go down. Like, they can sell him for the same price next season if he scores goals for them. He plays in the Champions League.
I don't know about that.
Definitely. You think you're going to get both?
No, I
think Liverpool are going to get both.
I always thought we'd get Ekitike anyway, but
I know that. I knew that you're going to get Ekitike probably. But that is he good enough?
I like Ekitike, man. Yeah, I think
I like him. Is he better than Gyökeres?
No, Gyökeres is a better player, but who's better than Mo Salah?
Nobody's better than Mo Salah.
I think
then we're still good, yeah. So
I think what will happen is that if that is the case, that he's turned around and says that he would like that move, then it'll happen. Might take a bit of time, but it will happen.
You think so? You think?
Yeah, if he's turned around and gone to Newcastle,
he said he's open for the move. He doesn't want to force the move. He said he's open for the move.
Well, words. If he goes into a meeting and says, "Yeah, I'd like to," listen. There's two things he can say, right? He can turn around and go, right, no, I'm not going to sign another contract at Newcastle, so you're never going to get a penny out of me. Like, you know, and in 3 years' time, I'll go for nothing. And as quite rightly there, like the more every year that his contract goes down, the cheaper he comes. Or he turns around and you know, he says, let me go. And then Newcastle, at this moment in time, Newcastle, right, can get as much as they can from him. Like for instance, they can say 150 million. If you don't want 150, well, we've tried. Next season, it'd be 130, 120. But like, what will happen is at this moment in time, Newcastle will get the best price they can this year. They won't next year or the year after. It's this year they get the best bet. Now it depends if they want that.
Who's getting the better? Like, who do you think is going to score more? Isak for Liverpool or Gyökeres for us?
Mo Salah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, yeah, I think. Listen, I think if Gyökeres gets 20 goals next season, that puts us in a completely different light to what we were.
Put you in a different level. Yeah, put you in
yeah, 100%.
That's how you've got to look at it. Like, you know. Isak is don't forget with Isak as well, and a lot of people missed the boat on this a little bit here. Like, you know, Gyökeres can play just up as a centre forward. That's his job, centre forward down the middle. Isak can play to the left, to the right. You know what I mean? He's a footballer. Dare I say it, a footballer as well as a goal scorer. Like, there's a difference. You know what I mean? As we know, so. Listen, it may be that they do get the 2, and you know.
Oh my God! If Liverpool get the 2,
what people got to understand, especially Newcastle fans, all we're doing is reporting the news. Yeah. So if you want to be angry at people, go and be angry at oRNSTEIN, Fabrizio, and people like that, because we're just
they have to be angry at you, Jamie. Otherwise, because they can't.
But they're all hypocrites. Football fans are all hypocrites. Yeah, we're all hypocrites. Yeah, we're all hypocrites. Newcastle fans were slagging off Forest for not giving them a Langer cheaper, and then eventually got him for 55 million. Right? All football fans are like this. Yeah, Liverpool going through it. You know, they had the Trent situation last year. You know, we moan about Real Madrid tapping up Trent and tapping up Konate, but we're tapping up everyone else. You know, we're all hypocrites in this world of football. It's a wonderful world of football that we all live in, and we all do it by our own clubs. But yeah, look, what we do for a living. We're just reporting the news, guys. You know, it's, you know, and then we just got to see what lands and what's true and what's not. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
And we just see our opinion about it. Like, exactly. Liverpool are talking about Rodrygo, Arsenal talking about Rodrygo. I'm not the one sitting negotiating with Eze to sign for freaking Arsenal Football Club. That's not me. That's not Lee. Like, Lee doesn't meet with Eze every day trying to convince him to sign for Arsenal. There are people that get paid to do this, to be honest with you, too.
And the Rodrygo one's interesting, because I was reading some stuff up about Rodrygo yesterday, and because a lot of people were saying why from Bayern Munich, because they need a winger badly, because, you know.
But he said he prefers the Premier League.
Yeah. Also, is it Max Herbel, the sporting director at Bayern Munich? One of his jobs is getting the wage bill down at Bayern, ain't it? And that's why Bayern are interested in Luis Diaz, because Luis Diaz is only on 55 grand a week. So even if they double his wages, it's fine for their wage bill where they want to get it down a bit. Rodrygo's already on 200 grand a week. So that's why I think if Rodrygo does leave Spain, it will be for the Premier League. And it's got to be between, I think, Chelsea, Liverpool, or Arsenal will probably be one of them.
Where should Rodrygo go?
Liverpool. Lee's going to say Arsenal. And a Chelsea fan say Chelsea. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. Like, listen, at the end of the day, he's going to want to go somewhere where he's not guaranteed, but like he's going to have more
success,
more and play a lot more. Like, you know, this is a guy that's not playing in his favourite position in Real Madrid, and probably, like, if we'd be really honest, if you sat down with him and said to him, right, you can play left wing for Real Madrid. We're going to give you that opportunity. You can play left wing for Liverpool. You can play left wing for Arsenal, left wing for Chelsea. He'll stay at Real Madrid. But the fact of the matter is Real Madrid can't give him that. The other three can. And it really goes down to where he'd want to go.
It is reported that he prefers Arsenal, by the way. That's just hand of Arsenal. I know that. He's an ITK. He knows that. The guy doesn't get things wrong.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Funny that, like, you know what I mean? Was the player Mudryk favoured Arsenal and was like, and Chelsea threw the money at him and he ended up at Chelsea. So look, listen, I don't believe all this stuff that you're an Arsenal fan or you're a Liverpool fan or whatever. Money talks, and also game time talks. And it's as simple as that.
I think he goes to Arsenal and starts every game.
Goes to Liverpool, starts every game. You know, wherever he goes, he's probably going to start, ain't he?
Yeah,
every game.
Yeah, James, I think you're right. So look, you know, it's very, very nice if
you'd be happy, Lee, if you pay him higher than the Sakas and the Odegaards and the.
Well, that's something that Arsenal and Liverpool will have this problem. Liverpool will have this problem if they bring in Isak and he wants 400 grand a week. You know what I mean? Then Mo's going to be knocking on the door. Hold on a minute, I want that. Like, you know what I mean?
He's on that.
He's on that now. So he's on that.
He's on 400k. Him and
you cannot pay everybody 400k. Like,
no, you can't.
So, like, at the end of the day, Arsenal have got two wonderful, wonderful footballers in our team that every single club would want if he come available, and that being Saka and Saliba. Now, at the end of the day, if you're paying, I don't know, Rodrygo comes in and he's 300 grand a week, they're going to want that, and if not more. And, you know, that's where you have to be a little bit careful. You can't keep filling these teams with all these superstar players and And then if you do, it's got to work, because if it doesn't work and
it goes pear-shaped.
you're in trouble.
You're done.
You're done, because unlike in Spain, unlike in Germany and France, the big teams, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, they're all guaranteed to finish in the top 3 or top 4. I don't, a bad month for Arsenal, a bad month for Liverpool, a bad month could cost you Champions League football. Now, at the end of the day, with the way it's going in England, it looks like it's going to be 5 from now on at this moment in time. So, that does ease the situation a little bit. And give it another 5 years, probably with the way things are going in Europe, there'll either be 6 or we'll be playing a different competition, So it is, you've got to get it right.
Can I tell you another problem with Arsenal Football Club? If it goes wrong for Arsenal, they can't sell the players and recoup the fees. Barcelona and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, they can sell their players and recoup the fees. Like, for example, if Arsenal sign Rodrygo and spend 100 million euros and they don't win the league, if Arsenal in 2 years try to sell Rodrygo, they won't get the same money. They won't. Yeah, that is a big problem for Arsenal. Real Madrid, we can sell players more, even with failing. They get smashed by Barcelona. They still sell players with high price. Like, because it's Real Madrid. For Arsenal, it's kind of hard to sell players for high
Arsenal don't really.
Hard.
I think ain't £40 million Oxlade-Chamberlain your highest sale.
Yes, it is. We've not been great on that. 2 ways to look at that. We keep our best players to
keep them until they go. Yeah, exactly.
They go. There's ways to look at that. Yeah. Listen, Tottenham got unbelievable deal getting rid of Harry Kane for 100 million as a 30-year-old. It's incredible, So we're not one of the greatest at selling. But do you really want to be a selling club? I'd like to think that we keep these guys for a very, very long time. But at the end of it, Arsenal have made horrendous mistakes in the past, like letting players like Nasri, Van Persie go into their last year and going back years ago. We don't seem to be doing that no more, But, it's a great point. I don't think you should be in my eyes, I don't know how James feels about it with Liverpool. I don't think we should be buying a Rodrygo to think, what's going to happen in a couple of years' time, like when we sell him and all that. I think you're looking at those players to be the game changers right here, right now. Whether they can be or whether they can't be, that's another debate. Listen, I think Rodrygo he's a good player. I don't
very good.
Very, very good player, but he's not consistently in the Real Madrid side. And what I see of it, and again, I only look at never watch the Brazilian games. He's not a regular with them neither. When I seen the team sheet.
Oh, finally, someone is saying it. I like Rodrygo, but people making it like Rodrygo Salah, for example.
No, I don't think he is. I don't know. I'm going to be really honest. As you say, when you look at the thing and see how they got on, always have a look at the team lineups, mainly for my own players. I'm pretty sure we all do. See.
By the way, if he was that good, he would have forced himself into the Real Madrid team. Real Madrid always won the best player. He is very good. I'm not saying that he's not good, but if he's like Mbappe level, Vinny level,
I think he's better than Vinny.
Yeah, but
technically,
but you could say that about Salah, but it didn't work at Chelsea. Oh, so he's no good. You know what I mean?
But he wasn't good then. You
listen, when I see Mo Salah at Chelsea, if you would have told me at that moment in time, I'm pretty sure Jamie would agree with this, that he is going to be the most successful player for Liverpool in 2 years' time, and you would have gone, well, I'm not so sure about that. You don't know.
Club didn't believe
don't know.
Players peak at different times, don't they?
Yeah, exactly that. So what's good for someone is, come out for somebody else. I don't know. I don't know about him at the end of the day. I'm not this, everybody goes, oh, Rodrygo, like they watch and Barcelona also, and they may well do, it's on TV and all that. I don't, you know what I mean? I only really, if I be really honest, I only watch Arsenal. I don't really watch Real Madrid.
Yeah, I hear that. And all that. I hear
that. When I see him against Arsenal in the Champions League, he didn't impress me. You know what I mean? No. But there you go.
Did you go to the game? Did you go to the game in Madrid?
Yeah, of course.
How was he playing against Lewis Kelly?
I didn't really see too much of him. Like, you know what I mean?
Kelly wrapped him up.
Yeah, he did. And listen, Mbappe was wrapped up and all that, but that doesn't mean to say he's not a bad player. Like, you know what I mean?
You know what I
mean? I ain't going to go down that route. You know,
with footballers, you know, I think Rodrygo technically is a very sound footballer. Yeah, but when we look at footballers, is there more than just technical ability with a footballer? Because I think sometimes you've got to think of mentally about a footballer as well. You know, how strong are they mentally as well? Like, I look at Rodrygo, I'm like, I think he's technically just as good as Vinny Jr. as a footballer, right? But I'm like, is he mentally as good as Vinny Jr. as a footballer, if that makes sense? You know, there's other aspects to being a footballer sometimes, because you can find some beautiful technical footballers, yeah, right? But there's some other players out there, maybe not technically as good as them, but they got the whole package and they have bigger and far better careers going down the line, if that makes sense. Because I look at Rodrygo and I say technically fantastic player, you know, pace, dribble, can shoot, can pass, got quite a lot in his locker. But I look at Vinny as well, and I think Vinny's the same kind of player, but I think there's more to Vinny's game, because I think Vinny believes in himself more than maybe Rodrygo does, because that's why Rodrygo sometimes does go missing in a lot of games. He's very quiet in a lot of games. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But
well, that's a great point. And Arsenal, maybe even Liverpool, in the Premier League, you can't have players that go missing for half hour. And things like that. They've got to be on it all the time, like, you know. And listen, you know, I remember a conversation with Dan 2-3 years ago. We've got to go and get this Nunez. That's the one. That's the one. He's the one, like, you know what I mean? It hasn't worked out at Liverpool for him, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that when he goes to the next team that he plays for and he starts banging in goals, like, you know, it can happen. But at the end of the day, it might not be the fit for Liverpool. It might not be the fit for Arsenal. It might not be the fit for Real Madrid, but it might be the fit for one of us. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, listen, one of the best players that's ever played, I've ever seen play for Arsenal, couldn't get in the Barcelona team, and that was Sanchez. And he come to Arsenal, and he was nothing short of sensational for 3 years. You know, so I don't think you should read too much in it, like, you know, from that point of view. But I'm not saying like, oh, we've got to get him. Or
what about Eze? What about Eze? Okay, I have this feeling that Eze is going to have the same impact that Olise had on Bayern. Like, Eze is like a phenomenal player. Like, he's going to come to Arsenal and he's literally going to change the team.
Left winger changes us, because what I would like to see. Do you know where I think Arsenal have been where Arsenal, I think, failed over the last few years, and you can say strikers and everything like that, is that we don't win enough home games. And the reason we don't is because these teams put in the low block and we haven't got anybody. We've got one option in Odegaard. What you can have, like, if you get Eze in the team, all of a sudden when you're playing these low blocks, you've got Eze, you've got Odegaard in the midfield, you've got Declan Rice making runs from deep. It might unlock these teams a little bit easier for us, like, and then go on and win those games. That's where I think Eze would be a big bonus for us. You know, like, for instance, Martinelli is all about pace, but when the team's dropping so deep, there ain't the space behind. But like when you're playing at Liverpool or you're playing at one of the bigger teams who are going to push you on, maybe then Martinelli's your one, because you've got that space behind. I just think Eze is a very, very good footballer. And also, I've got to say this: Arsenal are still weak in squad. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Eze can play in the middle. I'm not saying that he's going to be as great a left back, a wide left player as Rodrygo or whatever, but he can do the job and do it well, like, you know. So I do think Eze would be a very, very good signing for Arsenal. I think
he's going to bench Odegaard.
Well, I tell you what he will do, Mo, is that if Odegaard has to see, let's just get this right. Martin Odegaard cannot have, or Arsenal and cannot have him playing at the level he played at all of last season.
No.
Like, we got injured for 3 months and we had no one to replace it. So if, you know, like, if he was to get injured, you got someone to replace it, and the team doesn't dip or whatever. And then when he comes back into the team, I believe, rushed back into the team because we was desperate, he's never quite hit that level. So what it would do is it means then that, like, you know, if you are not playing well, Martin, I'm sorry, you're going to have to drop out. So what does that tell you? Two things, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have to get on my game and play. I just think it's a good signing all round for Arsenal. And sometimes you don't have to replace players. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a little saying that I bring in, like, there's squad players when everybody needs squad players, but you also need rotators. And what means when one comes out, one comes in, and there's no difference. And I think that he would be a rotator, and that's not about
you need your spine, don't you? You need your spine. That's your spine that plays every week, and then you got everyone around it. That's the way. Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, we'll see. Joe Green is saying last full season with Havertz up front, 89 points. Imagine with Gyökeres then. Imagine with Viktor Gyökeres.
Are Arsenal going to play to Gyökeres' style though?
That's something we've got to work on. That's why it's important that he's on that pre-season trip game. That's
you need him now. That's why I'm saying you should have. They went and got him straight away, like, and then.
Well, listen, I don't care what anybody like. Let's get this right. All Arsenal fans patting everybody on the back in January, right? If Gyökeres was the one that they've said, right, we're going to not go for the number 9 and give up, 5 months of the season without a striker, right? That deal would have been done. I believe that it was somebody else that in January they've turned their attention to Gyökeres, because if you look at it now, he should have been done first opportunity. I don't know why they're haggling over £2 million and whatever. Now it's still little things here, little things there. When you look at it, the Chelsea deal and even like the deal for the central defender at Valencia, very, very quick. Why isn't this one been quick? Why is it taken so long? Why are they haggling over a cut when it's so important to what happens with Arsenal? I think it's. I just
it's a dick measuring contest. Yes. Who's gonna cave first? The Sporting Lisbon or the Arsenal hierarchy?
My opinion, when you've gone 5 months without a striker, I don't think you should be measuring dicks. There you go, like, you know what I mean? So
this is what happens.
You should never measure them anyway, because you'll only be disappointed.
Martinelli is a headless chicken. Sell him. I think also should sell Martinelli and actually sign someone else.
He's all right. Leave my Gabby alone.
I think Martinelli needs to kick up the arse. That's what he needs. I think if you bring competition in,
I think you should think. I genuinely think you should upgrade on Martinelli. If he's going to get you 50-60 million pounds, you can get a better player than Martinelli.
Listen, I'm not going to go into it because of keep sticking up for him and all that. Like, Martinelli plays in a side where there's no left back, right? The left back inverts, right? So he has to do a lot of work going back, plays a lot for the team, not himself. You know what I mean? I'm not being horrible. Mo Salah doesn't have to do that, nor does Saka. They don't have to do that. Like, he has to get back to certain, like, you're asking him to do 50, 60, 70-yard runs and then and then be on the end of things and all that. Like, I think it's a little bit harsh on him. I really do. So play to his strengths. Look what he done in his strengths towards the back end of last season. It was very, very good for us. So
I disagree with you, but fine. That's why I think some Arsenal fans are attached to their players more than the club. That's what I think.
I'm certainly not. I look at it from all round things and at the
football in perspective. You think you cannot upgrade on Martinelli, Lee? There are too many wingers out there.
I'm not saying that. You never said that. That wasn't your. That was. Don't you start coming on changing. I know it's your show and changing the rules here. Like you said, can you upgrade better up? I'm not saying that. You said sell him. I'm saying not
sell him and upgrade.
Well, why sell him then? Get someone in the better and make him better.
You can't have three wingers on the left side. You can't go into the season with 3 left wingers. Someone's going to be upset.
3 left wingers.
Trossard, Martinelli, and the winger you're going to get.
Well, I think Trossard, he's in his 30s and probably will.
Okay, so you're going to sell Trossard. I get it. If you're going to keep Martinelli as a bench player, that's fine.
Yeah, that's why not?
That's fine. I don't mind it. That's a good back.
A rotator, as I say. He's a rotator.
I like it. But you can't tell me that you're going to go into the season with 3 left wingers. One of them is going to throw a tantrum mid-season. Like, What is going on? I haven't got a minute.
I think Trossard's off. But yeah, I saw something when he meant to be going to Turkey.
The problem is, I believe that Trossard was linked to Fenerbahce, and then freaking Fabrizio Romano said there is no contact whatsoever. All of these are bullshit reports. There is no contact. But we'll see how it goes with us. Big up everybody that's here, guys. Lee Judge's channel in the description. Also, he's on OAFTV, but he's on Dan Potts 12 Man podcast as well. Great content between him and Dan. Every day now they go live. They do great content and great discussions. Go and subscribe to Lee. Great man, top man. Thank you so much for being here, Lee. It's always a pleasure talking to you, bro. Always pleasure.
I love it, like, because you do pull my chain every now and then. I must admit, like, and I love it.
That's what every good host should do.
And Jamie, big up Jamie. Jamie talks football, of course. Jamie football chats, of course, in the description. Go and support Jamie. Daily content about Liverpool and other clubs as well. And make sure to subscribe. I'm actually 11 subs away only from 37,000 subscribers, actually. So if you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe, guys. And I will see you on Straight Facts in about 20 minutes. And we're out of here, people.